All right, welcome back to Resilient Voices and Beyond. I'm so excited for today's episode, but I would be remiss if I don't start this episode with thanks and gratitude to all you guys out there that are supporting me, and not just only me and this platform, but supporting the guests that I have on and their endeavors. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Please keep the comments, the feedbacks, the rate and reviews coming in. That helps me be better, do better. I'm a person that loves to grow and what have you. Keep in mind, I believe in taking in feedback, but also everything that everybody say ain't always for you. So just keep in mind, I'm gonna choose it wisely, within prayer and what I need to do and change and what have you. But I've definitely taken a lot of what you guys said in, and I will be adding some things, building some things as we continue to grow within this platform. But thank you guys from the bottom and the top of my heart. If you have made it to season 3, and you don't know who I am, my name is Michael D. Davis Thomas, aka MDDT Speaks. I spent approximately 11 years in the Michigan Child Welfare System on the front end, on the JJ side, and then the second half aging out and the foster care side. I started advocating at 15, have been advocating and doing professional work for 12 years now within the child welfare arena, almost 13. So that's why I'm here today. That's why I'm just I'm sharing my wisdom, my experience, even things that I am going through currently because the trauma, and what you've been through just don't cut off at a certain age. And you just learn how to deal with it a little bit better, come from a better healed space and what have you. But you guys know I can talk all day. Y'all not here for me. But without further ado, I'm gonna have my guest introduce herself.
Hey y'all, I'm Whitney Nicole Penn. As you see, Michael stated, we met in MYOI, Michigan Youth Opportunity Initiative, years ago when I was have 14, he was 15. I've been in the foster care agency about 12 to 13 years. I'm also an advocate, alumni for the foster care teenager. I have been a voice for them. I am going to school to be a social worker. I just got back in school at 30 years old, just turned 30, y'all. Whoop,
That's
whoop.
that's all right. Keep it
And
going.
just got into the social work program, and it's just meaning so much to me. Because I know what it is to be in foster care. I know what it is to be in placement. I know what it is being on the other side and coming into those homes and then people knowing who you are, where you come from, and they try to get rid of you or they don't want you there because they feel like because of what trauma you went through, you can't handle it, which is absolutely incorrect, wrong. Most likely a person who has been in those shoes know how to dissect and deal with children, and that is my passion. I thought my passion was the president of the United States, but it changed when MYOI came in my life, when New Destiny Pathways came in my life. So I'm still working hard. Still do interviews. I still do speeches and stuff whenever I can. I am a full-time mom of a 3-year-old daughter, and I'm also a cancer survivor of 3 years.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. I appreciate it. We're gonna dive a little bit into, your story and I'm probably gonna ask some questions, we probably gonna laugh, we gonna have a good time. But my first initial question is or question more so statement, whichever you want to receive it as, is help myself and the audience understand a little bit more of that timeline of your life leading to now, to whatever ability that you're comfortable with starting at.
Like, what you mean? Like, be Pacific,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah. Share. When did you enter care? What did that look like being in care? For you, you whatever ability that you're comfortable with.
well, growing up, my mother, ooh, Lord bless her, she is still living. She was what you call a madam. A madam is a female pimp. So we enter in with family into the system, more likely me, since I was 7, in and out. I would go be with my aunties for weeks. It started with that. My mother wasn't a mother, she was more of a party person. She cared about her more of her life because of probably things that she went through that I don't know. But my great aunts raised me. They raised me to the woman I am today. They taught me about the Lord Jesus Christ. They had me in church. They taught me how to read. They taught me how to dish. They taught me how to cook, home style, Mississippi, that good cooking. They taught me what it was to be a Mormon. It was 3 of them. It was my Grandma Ruth, which is my mom adopted mom, my Aunt Pearlie, my Aunt Louise, and my Aunt Rudy mostly. My Aunt Rudy, she really took care of me. And then from there, I went back with my mom, and the abuse was horrible. I mean, to the point where I was locked in basements, beat consistently, burned. And my mom, everybody around my mom knew it in my family. And that's the hard thing about Black families, is they don't want to tell what goes in the house. They always say what goes in this house stays in this house, and it's always not right. It's not a true statement either. By that time I got older, and I was more like Cinderella in the home. I basically had to clean up everything. I had to take care of my siblings. My dad was in and out of prison. The last time I saw my father is when I was 5 years old during that time. And he was convicted of selling me and raping me in a crack house. To this day, he denies it, but paper trail says otherwise. I tried to, over the years, embed myself to be not like my parents. And I had an anger problem, emotionally impaired, ADHD, ADD, ODD, every mental problem you can think. From there, my aunts got too old. My grandmother was fighting. My mama's adopted mom was fighting for me. And they threw me into placement. And that's when it got worse. The bullying, the different girls would pick on me, the different foster homes, me putting my clothes in trash bags, not having proper containers, not having proper love. The staff at these different agencies, they didn't really care for these children. Some of them did. You might get 1 or 2, but then some out of nowhere, they'll disappear. They'll be gone. And now I understand why they have disappeared, or why they're gone, or what's going on, because I experienced it going back into that system. When I got around 15, I aged out of Pine Rest. That was the last placement I was in. I went back to my mom, just for me to go right back into the system. I mean, we weren't even with my mom for a whole entire month or 2. I just remember just going to the worst high school in the world to me. Some people don't think so, but I do. It was called Ottawa Hills High School, Grand Public Schools. I'm steady seeing the stuff that I came from. I'm seeing the drugs. I'm seeing the gang banging. I'm seeing murders. I'm seeing people getting killed. You shouldn't see that in high school. And one day, this was my last straw with my mom and my sibling. My mom actually really turned my sister against me. Like, me and my sister, to be honest, we do not get along. Neither one of my sisters. We do not talk. We cannot get along. It's just try counseling, you try everything. And when somebody is like a crab in a bucket and they don't want to invent themselves to make themselves better, you have to stir them away from the problem so you can make your family and stop that generation curse in your family. Well, on that night, my mother was doing something. I don't know. She just had this hatred for me. I couldn't understand because I was her firstborn. I'm her first child. I just couldn't. I'm class professing. And I told myself, my mom's not going to beat me anymore. My mom's not going to hurt me anymore. She's not going to stab me anymore. She's not going to push me down the stairs. She's not going to do none of this anymore. She's not going to physically, emotionally abuse me anymore. I'm not having it. I'm about 15 and a half. And I said, if I got to die to get out of here, I will. So mom brung me down the stairs, had my sister. She would treat my baby sister like she was the oldest. But long story short, my sister threw bleach in my face. And I immediately went into attack mode. And I seriously hurt my sister. I probably hurt her to the point where she had a concussion. I defended myself from my mom, and they called the police. Mike, well, I went to juvenile. I thought I was gonna be in the busted paper. I was so scared. Oh my goodness, I was so terrified. And I couldn't believe the way the juvenile treated me, not because of me being a teenager, but the color of my skin. They named everything in the book, house invasion to murder. I was just like, what? And the crazy thing is, the guy, I just graduated from Pine Rest, and one of the staff, his name was Mike J., and he was a Black man. He did not play with us. He did not play with us. He told us the truth about what it was for us as African Americans, how we have to live, what we have to do to get back into society. And I remember hiding in my room, and I'm so scared. And he said, come on out. And I remember them putting the juvenile stuff on me and putting the chains on me. And I just felt like a monster. Like, I'm just defending myself. And I went in that courtroom and walking, and I saw my mother, and I just was like, I think right then and there, that's when I was like, I hated her. And the judge denied everything. them 3 days in juvenile felt like 3 years. And I told myself I would never, ever go back there. And I just moved on to my foster mom, Tasha. And she was one of the most awesome foster moms ever. She was my adopted mom. She's actually Breonna Taylor's auntie, if anybody know who Breonna Taylor is. She was the young lady who was killed by police officers. We say her name, my cousin, to this day representing. And my mother, she is my mom. You know, I have a whole bunch of moms, but she came in. She was my mom's best friend. She was actually my godmom, and she took over. And one day she had to give me up because my mom was just lying about money, lying about everything. During that time, I got switched to my Aunt Bobby and Miss Lois, and they were older women. I mean, they did not play that. They were very stern. They put me in church. They had me, and that's where I found God for real during that time. And I remember walking with them now, and I just said, I hate my mom. I hate my dad. And my Aunt Bobby was my aunt on my dad's side. And all my life, my mom told me everybody on my dad's side was crackheads. They were addicts. And as you put that in a child, it embeds in their mind, and they're thinking like that. And instead of my auntie saying, baby, we're not like this, this is your family, and understanding my trauma, she denied my trauma, then made my trauma even worse. So when I had one, say for instance, I said, oh wow, my family are not crackheads. At a funeral, I said that. I'm like, wow, I got doctors in my family. I got nurses, educated people, real estaters, what? I'm shocked as a child. Instead of her saying, baby, I'm so sorry you didn't know this, she put me on punishment for about 2 months. Brutal. And she was mad at me about it. And I talked to her still. She said, baby, I regret doing that to you. I wish I would have showed you more love than tough love. But you know what? I'm glad these women, Lois, Bobby, Tasha Rostick, Janice Rostick, Alice, Nikedra, my aunts, my grandmother, these women that came into my life, Crystal, Mona Guyton, they came into my life to be stern. Sometimes people need tough love, because during my years of being in foster care, I got away with so much stuff because I was emotionally impaired. I had a mental health. Those people was just passing me through. But I did not know what my life is becoming. And I know that I have a calling on my life, not because I am in church and I'm learning about God or I know my word is because I know that God has a purpose for me.
Thank you for sharing that. I truly appreciate your openness and your vulnerability. Truly, it's a testimony. It truly is. Like I my Detroit side come out like you came out the mud. Like I don't know, but that's the way to say it. You
All
know,
right.
and it's truly beautiful um, to see you now. And it's crazy because I remember, us doing panels together. I remember we're sharing to these incoming social workers, CPS workers, private agency workers, trainers and facilitators, our story, our present day, what we were going through while we were in MYOI and what we had went through. And one thing I noticed about a good majority of those individuals, like me and you, we would go to those things and we wouldn't look like what we've been through. and people would like after you're done sharing, they'd be like, wow, you went through that? Like you came in here just smiling or what? And they were so amazed that we were able to have a smile on our face. And it's still now, like still now being a speaker, being in this arena, when you share what you've been through, people almost have this expectation that you're supposed to be down, you're supposed to, have a frown on your face or what have you. But I'm a firm believer that it's unfortunate what I went through.
Yeah.
But I had to go through it so I can help someone else not have to. Thank you for sharing that once again. I want to touch on you touched on the journey, what you experienced, with family, and placements and JJ. Um, One of the other questions I typically ask on here is when did self-care and managing your mental health, when did that come to play in your life? And what does that look like now as you are preparing to be that social worker and be in this space more in depth?
Well, I just had a mental breakdown a couple months ago, no lie. Going through life is hard when you always been the black sheep.
Mhm.
And my mental health, I can say going from a child, we was jacked up. We was some guinea pigs to them people. They will put us on all type of meds, got you seeing stuff, got you hearing stuff like you a psycho killer or
It's
something.
that per diem, like they get more money if you own something.
All the time I was 17, I told them people, take me off these meds. I'm straight. But I didn't know that I was just eating up the pain. I would just be around people that just hurt me all day. Just I was so used to being like that. I forgot about that love until a year ago when I'm starting to notice that my mental was going a little cuckoo. I was like, man, I need to go to counseling. I was thinking about that. I had a real big test that almost messed up my life. I worked at a job called Dean Transportation. Yeah, I'm saying their name. Working under I knew you was gonna laugh.
Right.
Working under Kelly Dean. I'm saying his name too. I ain't afraid because it's a freedom of speech. On October this month, it would be a year. Last year, October 30th, first, it was a year that it was hard for me on that day because it was now my granny birthday. The 2 days before that, my niece was killed in a car accident. My foster mom Lois, her granddaughter was killed in a car accident on Halloween, and then my grandfather, my dad's dad, had died, and he was trying to ask for forgiveness, and I walked away. That's when I knew something was wrong. And one of my students had died. She died, that I was really close to. I really loved her. Her name was Alyssa, super sweet. She was only 17 years old when she passed away. She had a disability dysfunction. Well, during dealing with all that emotions, I'm like, oh, I gotta go talk to somebody. During that 2 month span, or well, 3, because I don't want to call 2 weeks of August and the month of September, I was going through some bullying with people at my job, and rumors were going around. And this lady that I really truly love, like I told you, I love getting wisdom from the old folks because they got wisdom. They've been through what we've been through. They know how to tell you what to do, how to remove her. But now all old folks need to be respected, because some old folks just act like they me and you, Michael. Which for 4 years I did not know this lady was planning the case against me. She paid a student of mine that I had for 4 years, that she pressed charges on last year. Yeah, I'm saying it. She paid him over $2,000 some dollars to accuse me of sexually raping her son on the bus. I was accused of sexual allegation of child pornography, child abuse, knowing of what past I had, being in the foster care system, and I'm trying not to cry, y'all, and being a survivor from being molested and raped to being accused. I was one of the best bus aides there. I loved those kids like they were my own. I knew when kids were getting abused. I knew when kids was being molested. I knew these kids were in elementary and middle school and high school. All I dealt with was the worst of the worst. KITCTC. Those are horrible. Those are alternative schools for kids with mental disabilities. And they do the same thing they did to me and you, Michael. Oh, it's okay. They're not preparing them for the world. I didn't get prepared for the world till I was 16. I should have got prepared when I was a child. They're allowing me to get away with stuff because of my situation. Don't paddle me like that. 7 months, I was in and out of lawyer courts. I was in and out of jobs. I lost my therapy job because of the case. The owner did not like me because he said that I did not support the LBT community. It wasn't that I didn't support them. It's that I'm a Christian, and certain values and things that I have that I believe in. And I don't have no problem with them. My love is just like Jesus' love. And I'm learning that. And he was just really off with me when I was going through this case. His wife was with me. She transferred me to go to Pine Rest. I got into Pine Rest as a practitioner therapist for a home. And for them, the crazy thing, I was going through a spiral, y'all. The crazy thing, this case was so horrible going through it. Pine Rest got rid of me. I was there for 3 weeks, and Cindy, the one from when we were children that knew me, watched me grow up, watched me talk about my life, let me go because she said I couldn't mentally handle it, because it was a conflict interest, because I used to live there 18 years ago during that time of last year. Well, this year. Then I went from there to a daycare, and at the daycare, the young man's mom, auntie, worked there. And when she found out what my name was, she told the boss. And during that time, I was going through it, but I wasn't labeled as a child molester or whatever you want to call it. I was going through the process. They were trying to give me 5 to 10 years in prison for something that never even happened. I was the way they did it was I was the first one off of the job scene. I was put on probation, suspended with pay. They took my pay in February. I almost lost my home. I've been in debt. I lost my car, almost lost my child. All for it to say I was not guilty February 13th of 2023. It was thrown out because it didn't make any sense. People have to really tell the truth. The young lady, Miss Marie, was scaring people at the job. She had people at the job. She got fired. And I just didn't want to go there. I felt like they owe me money. I was trying to do a lawsuit. Nobody wanted to take my lawsuit. No lawyers in Grand Rapids. They were too scared to go against Mr. Kelly Dean. People are still scared. He owned buses all over Michigan. All over Michigan. You see Dean Transportation, that is who did this to me. They messed up my mental to the point where when you call about mental, after that, I tried to commit suicide. My daughter's dad and them found me. The mailman called 911, and by the time he pulled up, they pulled up. And I was crying. They put me in a hospital bed. My blood pressure was 249. How was I still living? Blood pressure shouldn't be that high, but it was high. And I was just looking at the sky. I was like, I'd rather be in here right now, God. I can't do this. Why am I going through this? Why am I mentally going through this? So they put me on antidepressant, made me go to counseling, and it was the best thing I could ever do. Now the medicine, I don't like. It made my body feel weird because you know how they used to have us on medicine, Michael. We used to be high, like they gave me little doses, and I was just like not study, didn't want to get up, move, swings. And so as I moved from that, I got into a job, Turn and Leaf. I'm saying their name too. It's a dog foster home, and I began to be a case manager. And it's like every time I would run from this case, it would come right back up in some final way. Now, I'm proven not guilty by this time. And one of the young ladies there, her name is Maya. Yep, I'm saying her name. And she was very unprofessional. And I couldn't understand why she was so stale to me and so dry. And I said to one of the other bosses, she was like, well, how did your first day go? And I said, well, the young lady, she was like real unprofessional. When you're doing your job and you're training me how to wash somebody up, or you're dealing with people with mental disabilities and they're adults, you're supposed to be excited about your job. If I'm doing a job and I know it's some backlash, I'm going to be excited and showing you like, hey, this is how you do it. I'm Whitney. I'm your supervisor in charge. I'm staff. What you call that, Michael? Staff? Like, it's not the supervisor, it's the staff, the shift leader. I would have been really, really contaminated and really, really happy to show you. She was like real dry. And so this is how I knew it started to get messy. When the young lady that I told the supervisor went back to the other supervisor, and they made us have a meeting. And when we had a meeting, it was all from hell right there and there. And she was just like, well, I am not unprofessional. I've been here 2 years. I'm a boss. And she was just going off. And I'm just like, yep, I got the wrong job. But I needed the money because, like I said, I almost lost everything. But someone was telling me, you should quit and go find another job. And I was just like, no, I need the money. I wasn't even there 2 months, and came to find out the young lady did everything she could to get me fired, and she got her wish. I never told them about me being accused or being acquitted from a crime because the crime I was acquitted. There wasn't nothing there. Came to find out the young lady was in cahoots with the young lady's son's family, something like that. She will take pictures of when I am done cleaning. Like, nobody really trained me well. They will take pictures under the young man's chair that you have to lift up. They will make rumors about me, lies about me. Even when we were doing our quote unquote, like at the end of the day, you have to write about each client. And I would be like, hello, good afternoon. How are you guys? This and this happened and this happened. I was like enthusiastic with it. Like, excuse me. And you're supposed to read those notes when you come in to see how your client was or the clients in the house was the day before. And when I read Michael, I would fall asleep because it would be so boring. Oh, CD went to the park and he was gone for 15 minutes. It wasn't, hi, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, they moving to a different house. I was doing so well, so good. Into, these guys, they didn't want to move out their rooms. They don't want to do nothing. You know how men are in placement. They don't like to do stuff, especially when they're older. And I was like, hey, you guys, let's play a game. I was activity staff, but I couldn't drive because I was on the highway rushing to another Walmart for my boss. And I drove 80. And I didn't know it was a tracker on the car. So now I know. Now I can be honest what I was doing. I got a heavy feet, so I can be honest. And they had basically called me downstairs, and I'm like, what is it again? They told me I was being recorded. People was recording me without my consent at this job. I was experiencing what these young people that when I was young in placement, the people who really truly care for these people, because I connected with them. I encouraged them. Especially one young lady, she used to call herself ugly all the time. I said, say I'm beautiful. I used to write little things for her she was, Winnie, I'm beautiful today. I feel better. They saw me changing lives. They saw me changing mindsets. And that's when jealousy came in. And on this specific day, I was supposed to be at the house that the young lady didn't like me at. And I came in and my supervisor, the assistant boss, he was like, you ain't supposed to be here. Rude. And I looked and I said, okay, my mental is telling me something is about to happen today. I feel it. I'm ignoring it. I'm talking to sister, my best friend, Sister Ariel, and we're praying. I'm like, something ain't right. I feel like I'm going to get fired today. I said that. And I started breaking down, crying. I said, oh, I need to take my medicine. Maybe I'm just tripping because of what's been going on, what I've been going through. And Sister is like, Whitney, if your gut and your Holy Spirit is telling you this, maybe you need to listen to it. And I was like, no, Sister, I need the money. Long story short, I told one of the guys, hey, we're going to play a game. If you want to do it, we can. That's the activity. I think if you guys don't want to do it, we are okay. At this time, one of my clients who loved the Lord killed himself on my watch, on some of our watches. He went and took some medicine that the story goes, and he jumped off the third story of a parking lot ramp downtown Grand Rapids, Michigan. And he died from his injuries. He was already dying from 4-stage cancer, lung cancer. And I was really close to him. I got really close to him in a way of learning him. And he was so laid back and cool. I just will never forget him saying, Whitney, Miss Whitney, they don't like you not because you do your job right. They don't like you because of the spirit that you have. And he said, if you saw what I saw, he said, you are glowing and you don't even know the calling that is on you. And I will never forget those words from him. And nobody was communicating with me about his death. I found out like after probably 2 days, 3 days after he died. And that was the day I got fired. One of the young men had went and told his mom, you're 50 some years old telling your mom, really? You 50 and telling your mama? Basically I was trying to force him to do group, which in our protocol we're not supposed to force. And so, like I said, the young lady, the boss of mine was already on edge with me. She calls my phone, yelling and screaming. And I was just like, yes, ma'am. No, that did not happen. And I'm just looking at one of the young ladies there and I'm just looking at her. I'm like, something ain't right. Something suspicious. So I was just like, you know what? It's nothing happening. She was like, I'm going to the grocery store on some sneaky stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go into the office and I'm just going to do some of my paperwork and some of my testing. Still, I got to get rid of these trainings. And I just went in there and I breathed and I said, Lord, I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm about to get fired. And my mentor was working on me, and I was like, man, I should just call. And when she get here, I'm gonna call if somebody can come in for me, because I just don't feel like I'm supposed to be here. And originally, Michael, I wasn't supposed to be there. I was working somebody else's shift on a Saturday, and I just got over COVID. So I was already gone for 2 weeks. That's the crazy part, you know? And this August 3rd, I will never forget it. I was in the office about to do my work, and I get another phone call from the young lady and my boss. Her name's Cindy, by the way. And she said, "Where are you, Whitney?" And I'm like, "I'm in the house." Well, I mean, where would I else? Where else would I be, you know? And she was like, "You need to get up and get out." And I'm like, "What? What's going on?" And she's like, "You're under investigation." I said, "What?" I was so lost in the sauce. My mental break. Boom. I said, "I'm tired of y'all. I'm sick and tired of y'all. Why y'all bullying me? Why y'all picking on me?" I broke right then and there. I snapped. I just snapped. I started going off on her. I was like, "I'm tired of y'all." I got to calling this is my biggest mistake that I did. I got to calling every number until I got to that owner, because nobody was answering their phone. Everybody was acting fishy. They were all in it to get me out of that house, because the girl didn't like me. Came to find out, the girl had the young lady that recorded me say I was going to beat her up, which I never did. And they escorted me off the property. They said I was a danger to not it wasn't the residents I was accused of. I was a danger to the staff, and I was just lost. Like, what is going on? Like, I was just telling the bosses, like, I've been getting bullied. They didn't care about what I wrote down in my journals. They just wanted me out of there. The girl got her wish. I watched her as I left there. She was laughing as I got in my car. And I remember driving home crying so hard, because it was around the corner from my house. And I got up there and I cried. I said, "God, what is going on? Why is that since this case happened, I just been going through bad luck. I don't know what you want me to do." And the next day, God had told me to go in my email. And during that time, I was applying for school and stuff. That's when I got the news that I got 3 scholarships. I got accepted to GRCC and Grand Valley Social Work Program. I went and did my classes, and I got a new job. And my life is starting over smoothly. And my mental is doing better. I go to counseling. Ain't nothing wrong with no therapist. I talk about my tragedy. I talk about my anger, because I noticed that I was holding everything in so much of a bottle that pressure of being of being accused of raping a child, of something that I know I did not commit, was so hard on my life. It showed me that there are a lot of evil people in this world. And it showed me that nice mentality that I had, to still have it, but in a professional way, and watch what you say and how you say it. And don't say too much, but stay professional with a smile, no matter what. I know that was a lot. You didn't know I went through that this year. It was so much, man. Mentally, it was.
So, me just listening in, you my sis and everything, that journey is still very much real for you. That journey, like, it's an ongoing journey of healing, of recuperating, and I feel that. I feel that. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you
I
so.
tell the truth, you know.
I feel it.
Us bad, because to be honest, Mike, we get it so. I'm not saying we get it bad, but people test us because they know the tragedy, or the mental state that we went through, especially if they got connects to people in our past. And you think the people that you know as a child, that they want to see you come up to the next level. But some people be like, "How did you get here, Michael?" How did you do this? Some people be really doubting you and want you to be that number. And like I said, I look at the statistics and kids in foster care, teenagers, that for them to go to prison is way lower than it was when me and you was in the system. It shows that our bodies, our minds, our voices we sacrificed for the children behind us and the teenagers behind us to have it better. They got it so good in foster care right now. I'll be like, dang. But it makes me, it just shows me the sacrifice of my voice, of what I did, so the next generation doesn't have to experience the downfalls and the ups and downs and the loopholes that me and you had experienced.
And definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I think towards the moments, because that's something that we don't really talk about a lot, is okay, spent all this time in care, had some okay moments, had some good moments with some placements, and then had some really terrible placements, some very terrible moments.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have a bit of institutionalization, some PTSD, not only from what I went through as a child, if I haven't had the time to deal with that, but now I have it from being in the foster care system in itself. You know, um, now I'm carrying that into my adulthood. No one tells you how to really get support or how to start that, because, and let me correct myself.
You all right?
There's an advocacy. Hey, go seek out therapy. Go do this. Like I admit, some social workers, some people within that space will tell you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've never never had a proper setting for you to heal, because I can't really count the settings of like placements and stuff like that when we were in care, because we knew that was kind of like forced therapy, and like it wasn't really something you chose, so you had a bit of hesitancy, and then also we talked about like people was getting put on medication to get more charges, for being there, and that's real. So
It's real.
Coming after the system, you have all this that you're going through. You don't know how to properly go to therapy and do your homework, because you can go there, talk, cry, but there's work that you have to do when you get home. And if you have never really done that or don't know how to do that, and most times or not, we don't really ask for help. So we gonna go and do what we supposed to do out of repetition. Like, oh, we supposed to go to therapy, so let's go to therapy. We not gonna ask the therapist, okay, so after we had a session, like, how do I deal with myself? How do I sit with myself? Like, we had opened up all these old wounds. What do I do when I get home? Like what do I do in my relationship? What do I do with my kids? Like, how is this gonna affect my work, my employment, my mindset, my shift? Like, how do I get back to baseline for myself? Um, and a lot of times we sit and we deal with that. I remember being in that space dealing for a couple years until like I really sat down and processed my institutionalization through trial and error, and then got through the stage of processing my PTSD and getting through that, and then was able to get to the place of dealing with the stuff that happened when I was a child, because I couldn't deal with, the childhood trauma first, because it was a whole nother layer that was brought on and put on top from being in the system.
Right.
So I say that because most of what you're sharing, it ain't nothing new, and I appreciate your truth and your honesty, because there's probably numerous people out there who face persecution because of what what label was put on them as a child, and as we try to, as you coming out of the juvenile system or foster care system, as you try to establish yourself as an adult, unfortunately, it don't look as pretty as most people. I'm gonna be real. It sometimes don't, you know. And you go to these jobs, you know, because a lot of times, and I'm gonna separate it. A job is different from a career. At least I believe you go to these jobs just trying to be able to secure yourself so you can get to that career, and you bounce around a lot because of bad work culture and environments. They don't know how to properly help or support someone who's been through trauma, which is crazy to me because everybody, I believe, have some level of trauma or childhood trauma. Whether it has been you was in a car accident as a kid, or whether, well, for the kids nowadays, if you had to go through a school shooting drill, like that's
Right.
traumatic, you know. Like, so everyone has went through something that could be potentially triggering or cause PTSD or childhood trauma. So to to be in the day and age where workplaces don't know how to properly support employers, um and helping them navigate, okay, like you are at an entry level position, how can we help you grow, how can we help you get to where you want to be? If that's with us, fine, that's great. If that's not with us, fine, that's great, you know. And I need, and I say this respectfully and openly, I need those entry level jobs to understand that everybody's not going to work for you forever. It's a job to most people. If you're not a high schooler or, you know, a young adult, most people want something, especially with prices of food and all this other stuff, that's going to be able to leave some sense of legacy, leave some sense of security. You know, jobs has advanced more to be able to provide more, but
Right.
that means that that's a place where someone wants to spend the rest of their life. You know, I commend the people who work and they build themselves up in fast food, and retail and what have you. Some people really have a desire to want to know what it looks like to be in the restaurant space and the retail space and what have you. But that's not everyone's story. So when you're coming to these places, and I did a training with my colleague Carrie Ward, with some employers and people in Illinois, kind of talking about this, how to support individuals who have lived experience, and what can you do to be more of a coach in that space, because I relate back to my own experience, um, at 14-year-old at 14, um, from protecting myself, having gained felonious assault, coming into adulthood where something was supposed to be sealed and adjudicated. There's a time where I applied to be a janitor in between jobs at a school. I didn't even know this was on my record. But my the county that I came out of failed to seal it properly, and they wanted me to pay them to go through the process to adjudicate it, because of an error on their part. But this affected my life. You know, I remember the experience of what I went through. I remember this is an incident with my aunt, um, and my aunt threatened me, and I defended myself. And I remember my aunt not even showing up for the court case, but me being charged. I remember me not even walking in front of a judge, sitting in a holding cell, and then they telling me you're going to displacement. You know, and there, and we talk about fairness and experiences and different things that affect individuals. So I don't know exactly what that may have made you feel, by being falsely accused, and having allegations and all these different things brought up and affecting employment after employment. But I can relate to a small percentage of having to adjust life due to a label or something being placed on you that isn't fair. Yeah, no. And as I move to my last couple questions for you, my last couple questions, um, you talked about um, advocacy and the work that you've been doing and you continue to do. Um, what what advice would you like to leave here? It can be general to any Pacific party, if it's for the youth, if it's for the workers, if it's for whoever, what would you like to leave here today?
I want to say to the youth first, because they're the most important than anything. I want to let any youth that's hearing my voice to know, don't stop. Do not stop. I don't care how much your depression is going on. I really I don't want you to let anything anyone says let you down. And if you do have a staff member around you who do care, who you notice that is getting bullied by coworkers, or stuff, tell the truth. Tell the highest of the bed. Tell your social worker. Speak on it, because we need more people to care for those of you that are in foster care, and also to know that it's okay to speak out, even if you gotta just to let y'all know, y'all have a right book. It's a blue Hammond book, y'all caseworkers are supposed to give to you by the time you are 13 to 14 years old, of telling you what rights that you have in foster care. And I'm saying that to you. If you are listening, babies, you do have rights on what you have a say so on and what you don't have a say so on. Don't let anybody fail you. You can graduate from high school. You can graduate from college. You can be whatever you want to be. Just because you had a hard life, don't mean you got to be like your parents. Break the generation curse. And for young women and men that's in foster care, that's mothers and fathers, you are great mothers and fathers, and continue to be who you are. And don't let that generation curse come over you. And now to the adults, take your job seriously. Do not look at these kids as guinea pigs. Look at these children and teenagers as human beings who have been emotionally, physically, mentally, all type of abuse in their mind. And if they are angry, it is a sign of protection. They don't know you, they don't understand you, and they don't know your motives. If your motives are bad, you need to consider your job. If your motives is good, take it consideration. We need more good CPS workers. We need more social workers who truly care for the child. And please, please make sure every child gets a home. Do not separate them and throw the little children in foster homes, while the older children goes to placement. That's another sign of trauma that they have to go through, and they already have on them. Try your best as finding a home for all of them. Do not look at them as a piece of paper. Get to know them for them. Gain their trust and their love, and do your job. And that's all I have to say.
I just want to thank you for being so open, being authentic in your truth. I appreciate it. Man, what and like my last question / statement is any last comments, and this is a space for you to share how people can connect with you, how people can reach out, if you have a LinkedIn, whatever, Facebook, Instagram, if you got a business, a book, a rap song, I don't know. How can people get connected with the work that you are doing, or what?
Anybody want to connect with me, they can get on me with me on Facebook, Whitney Penn, Snapchat, Whitney Penn 21. My number, I don't know, I don't think I should say my number. We ain't gonna do that.
No, that's great. That is great right there. They go connect with you on Facebook. Because Snapchat be getting hacked. So I strongly suggest Facebook.
Okay, just Facebook. That's all I got,
it's
guys.
a little bit more secure.
I'm very highly spoken. Outspoken, but I know how to make you laugh with it, because I'm being honest and I'm being serious, and I'm serious about what I speak about. And I want to be more involved with the foster care system, because like I said, I took a break. And as I'm in school, this could be extra credit in my social work class, and that's why I need this recording so I can show my social worker class. So, just to show them, hey. And also, Michael, I really want to thank you. I've been knowing you since I was 14. Like, I have to come out to Detroit because I was just there last week. I had to get my hair braided. I got to go to Detroit and get my hair braided. I got family there that I found. They found me, and it's my mom's real father. He passed away, and we didn't see them for like 15, 16 years. So my cousins don't even know my story or what I went through. So this will be amazing for them to know, like, oh my God, this is what my cousin went through. This is why we lost contact. So we have to get together and sit down for lunch and stuff, just see each other. And anything else about foster care on the east side, let me know. I'll come over there and speak. Anything on the west side, let me know. I'm right here on the west side of the state. Grand Rapids all day, 616 to the 313. I definitely really appreciate you, and I'm so honored, and I'm so proud of you. I'll never forget when I was in DHS, and I seen your face, and I sent it to you. I said, I'm so proud of my brother, because there was a time when your face was so serious, and I'm like, why don't you smile? But everybody's going through, and their life can be harder than yours. And look how God brought you this far. You got your own podcast. Sooner or later, you're gonna be interviewing celebrities, and I'm gonna be one. But I just really thank you for what you're doing, and also, if there are any authors or illustrators that deal with books of how to write a book, I truly need help on my book. It's called The Godly Woman She Became. And any directors, movie directors that's listening to this, I also want to make my life bio into a movie too. So that's some things I'm looking at, and I truly want somebody to really truly believe in my dream of my nonprofit. So I'm just trying one thing at a time, and that's school, and whatever God has for me, he has for me. Truly.
Well, thank you. It's really been an honor and a privilege to have you on. I can't speak enough onto, like, I appreciate you being vulnerable, sharing your truth, and being authentic. So thank you. Thank you. We go way back, we gonna keep going too. So thank you for being on here. For the audience, I have to, because like, this was a raw, uncut episode. So trigger warning, and I want you guys, as you guys get to this place of the episode, if something on here triggered you, whether you're like, dang, I didn't know they treated people like that, or whatever, you may be feeling, I just ask that, if you're on your way to work or whatever you're doing, center yourself, do practice some mindfulness exercises, get yourself back to baseline. It's something, if you're an adult or a youth listening to this, trigger something you have been through, that, sometimes our memory, like, shuts things out, and sometimes in our life it opened doors or something. If you need help finding resources or support to start a journey to healing and working on some of those things that you've been through, feel free to reach out to me. My email, my work number is connected to the platforms that you can find my podcast on. I will be glad to help you out in navigating that journey for yourself, or finding someone to help you navigate that journey for yourself. But truly, truly, I can't say this enough. I'm interviewing multiple different people, all different sides, and it's a journey. It's a journey. Everyone's story is unique to them. I truly believe it's unfortunate what we all go through, but I believe God places these battles, these storms, on individuals that he know that can utilize it to help others. I say that to say that I understand that some of our brothers and sisters who go through some tough things don't make it out. That overwhelms them or it encompasses them. And I recognize that. But I believe that there will come a day that, you know, we can be better at preventing things from happening that not a lot of people have to make it out. So I thank you guys for that. With that being said, cold and flu season and COVID is coming back around. You
You
know,
know,
so look, make sure you got your hand sanitizer, your mask. Yeah, I believe the US postal system is passing out free at home COVID tests. So go on their website, get you some, you know, if you have kids, get you some, all this, the whole 9 yards. But let me say this, sanitizer does not supplement from washing your hands. Most sanitizers say they kill 99.9 something percentage of germs. So there's still a percentage after you use that sanitizer still on your hands. So uh, go wash your hands, you know, be kind to one another. By you taking care of yourself, you help take care of everybody else, you know. So just think about that as you navigate this fall and winter season coming upon us. Uh, Outside of that, guys, I'm out here still trying to grow. I've put a couple things out there. I'm actively looking for sponsors and donors to keep this podcast going, to sustain it. I have a GoFundMe going. I have my Cash App where you can just send a donation. Anything big or small will help be able to sustain this and help me continue to build this. So if you're thinking about it, how you can support, how you can help, I'm all for, you know, the likes, the shares, the rates, the reviews. They help so much. Could please continue to do so. But also, if you can, please donate. You know, become a sponsor. It takes $74 and I want to say 61 cents a month to keep this running. To keep this running, and as a person that works multiple different jobs, contract jobs through consulting and different things like that. And I'm actively looking for a more 9 to 5, which would make 6 jobs for me. And I sit on 16 boards, and I'm currently pursuing school as well. And amongst all of that, unfortunately, I'm putting money in, and many of you believe in what I'm doing. I believe that this place is a platform to help people grow, help people heal, but also to get the word out. And truly, a lot of you guys believe in this mission. So help me grow it. Help me, you know, build it out so I can one day, like what he said, have those famous people on here, you know, be able to do community events, be able to travel to different states, you know, and help educate some of those BIPOC communities where we see a lot of removals at, and all these different things. I would like to be able to expand and do these things, but unfortunately, things cost in this world. So that's my little, you know, call to action. This has been Resilient Voices and Beyond, Season 3, Episode 16. Hope you guys have a good morning, good night, good afternoon, good whenever you're listening to this. Thank you. Talk to you guys soon.